Hello, Tradition families. I am Karen Kopek, principal of Tradition Elementary School. Thank you for a great start to the 2020-2021 school year. Next week, we will begin week 4 of our learning, and we will begin introducing students back on campus for face-to-face learning that will follow on an emergency schedule. We are so excited to see some of our Tradition Titans back on campus. Knowing we are still in a pandemic, I would like to review the emergency schedule with you, as well as some of our most current campus procedures and safety precautions. Please understand that some procedures may be adjusted throughout the year to ensure risk mitigation as well as the safety of all students and staff. Let's go ahead and get started. Some of the key points that we're going to cover are the emergency schedule, the daily health screening, personal protective equipment, also known as PPE, arrival procedures, classroom procedures, restroom, water fountains, hallways, lunch, recess, afternoon dismissal, and visitors on campus. Let's begin with the emergency schedule. We will be launching an emergency schedule beginning Tuesday, September 8th. The purpose of this schedule is to ensure we are able to provide social distancing and risk mitigation for all stakeholders on campus. Your child has been assigned to either Group 1 or Group 2. Each group will have assigned days they will report to campus. The color-coded calendar displayed shows the days Group 1 and Group 2 will report to campus each week. For example, if your child was placed in Group 1 and you have chosen face-to-face instruction, then beginning next week on Tuesday, Group 1 would attend face-to-face. Group 2 would attend face-to-face on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Whatever group is not face-to-face will continue remote learning at home. Let's look again at the following week. When we look at the next week beginning September 14th, Group 1 students will come on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with the remaining of the week for the Group 1 students being remote, whereas Group 2 students will be remote Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then they will be face-to-face Thursday and Friday. If you are a parent who has chosen for your child to do remote learning all year, then you will continue remote learning as you have previously done these last few weeks. We have done our best to make sure that all siblings attending the same campus are in the same group. If there is a discrepancy between your child's assigned day, please contact the school at 210-662-1700. Teachers will contact parents by 4:00 p.m. on Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, and letters are also being mailed out this week that will also include a copy of this color-coded emergency schedule and calendar. Daily health screening. Daily health screening is important to the safety of staff and students. Staff and students are responsible for a self-evaluation daily before reporting to school. Anyone with symptoms related to COVID-19 and or a fever of 100.4 should stay home and contact their doctor. There will be no perfect attendance incentives, and caregivers are required to keep their sick children home. Temperature checks are required by all prior to reporting to school. The school nurse will have a thermometer to check temperatures if anyone becomes ill after they arrive at school. Please understand that campuses will not check temperatures as students arrive daily, according to TEA guidance, due to most children being asymptomatic and so as not to create an unsafe environment at the door as crowds gather waiting to have their temperature checked before entry. There is also variability of devices accuracy. Personal protective equipment, or PPE. Face mask or cloth coverings are required for everyone 10 years and older inside the building per the governor's current mandate. Out of an abundance of caution, here in ECISD, either a face covering or a face shield will be required for all students under 10 years old while inside the building. The district will provide students a face mask or face shield upon request. Arrival procedures. The front doors and the gym door for bus students will open at 7 o'clock a.m. The tardy bell will ring at 7:32 a.m. Parents and visitors are not allowed on campus and must remain in their vehicle. Parents may not congregate outside school buildings. Students will report to their classrooms upon arrival. They will be greeted by a member of the campus staff. Pre-K and kinder students will be escorted to their classrooms. Free breakfast will be provided to all students and served in the classroom. Campus visitors will not be allowed to eat with students for breakfast. Let's take a quick look at the tradition drop arrival and drop off map. This map is very similar to the one that was from last year. Parents may enter through the gate off of FM 1346 or may also enter off of FM 1518. There will be 2 lines of traffic, and again, we will have staff outside social distance to make sure that students get in, to greet your students and also make sure that they get inside safely. If you are in this inside lane, please be sure that a staff member assists your child in walking across rather than letting the child go on their own. Please also understand again that the doors will open at 7 o'clock a.m. At 7:15, breakfast will begin being served in the classroom by all teachers and for all students, and that at 7:32, the tardy bell will ring and instruction will begin. Now let's take a look at classroom procedures. Seating has been arranged in all classrooms for social distancing 6 feet apart. Desks and tables are 6 feet apart, and students will be sitting and facing the same direction. There is frequent sanitizing and disinfecting of surfaces and touch points that will occur. Classroom doors will be left open to increase airflow when possible. Expectations will be taught that require students to stay in their own space. Hand sanitizer will be used frequently amongst students to include entering and exiting the classroom. Students will be reminded to catch their cough and sneeze in their elbows. Students will also be encouraged not to share supplies unless absolutely necessary. Supplies that must be shared between users will be sanitized. Students are encouraged to use their own supplies, and again, we are not encouraging them to share with one another. We want them to use their own supplies. Books will be quarantined for 5 days between users. Students' belongings will be separated and labeled, and doors will be propped open during entry and exit times to reduce touch points during the day. Restroom procedures. A maximum capacity sign will be posted on all the doors of the restrooms. Students will use hand sanitizer before and after going to the restroom. Students will only use the restroom in the hallway of assigned classrooms, and only 1 student per class will be allowed to use the bathroom at a time. Students will be taught and use a hand signal to request a restroom break rather than having the students get up and minimize the traffic time in the classroom. Once in the restroom, the student will be taught to 1. Go to the restroom, 2. Wash their hands, 3. Throw away the trash, and 4. Leave. Again, we want to teach them very precisely. Go, wash, throw, leave. Hand washing posters are posted in all restrooms to help remind students to follow the safety protocol. Restrooms will be disinfected frequently throughout the day. At this time, all water fountains will not be used. We are asking students to bring their own water bottle from home rather than using the community water fountain. Hallway procedures. Students should walk single file on the right side of the hallway. Students will walk with their hands at their sides or behind their backs to minimize the touching of the walls or anything else in the hallway. Floors throughout the campus are marked 6 feet apart with dots or also small pieces of tape that will allow the students to see how far 6 feet is. This is both in the hallways and outside the classrooms to help students maintain social distancing when entering or exiting a classroom. Hallways are designated one way where possible. Teachers will stagger when students or staff will be in the hallway to minimize exposure. Face masks or cloth coverings are required for all students and staff. The district will provide students a face mask or face shield upon request. Hand sanitizing stations are placed throughout the hallways for students to be able to use as they travel in the hallway. Lunch. When entering the cafeteria, the students will enter in a single file line maintaining 6-foot distance. Again, there are dots on the floor that will allow them to see where 6-foot distance is. Students will choose a milk and lunch of their choice. To maintain social distancing and sanitization, some classes will eat in the classroom while others will eat in the cafeteria. This will help us avoid mass gatherings of students. In both areas, students will follow social distancing guidelines. Tables or desks will be sanitized after a child has used it to eat lunch. For cleanup and exiting of the cafeteria, staff will roll trash cans to each student. Students will throw away their trash to reduce the point of contact. Tables and touch points will be sanitized between users. A couple of important reminders. Food delivery from outside of school will not be permitted at this time. Also, campus visitors will not be allowed to eat lunch with students. Recess. Students must use hand sanitizer immediately before recess and immediately afterward, upon leaving and re-entering the building. Students will be actively monitored and reminded of social distancing requirements, 6 feet apart. We will stagger the use of the playgrounds to minimize the number of students in one area. Structured activities will be offered that force social distancing. Spaces will be created 6 feet apart for individual use equipment, for example, jump ropes and basketball. Equipment will be cleaned and sanitized between groups. A schedule for sanitizing and disinfecting surfaces and frequent touch points will be utilized. Afternoon dismissal. Bus procedures. Staff will call students to their buses once the buses are there and ready to load. One set of doors will be designated for entry and one set for exit. Staff members will be assigned to hold doors open or prop doors open during high traffic times to eliminate touch points. Car rider procedures. Students' names and grades will be called by staff members on a walkie-talkie. Students will be waiting with social distancing 6 feet apart. Students will be escorted to their vehicles. Cars must have a green Tradition Car Rider tag to pick up a student. If a car does not have a green Tradition Car Rider tag, the driver will be asked to park their car in the visitor parking lot and present a valid ID to staff members and sign the student out on the clipboard. The staff member will return inside and verify with the registrar the driver is allowed to pick up the student. A new green Tradition car tag rider will then be issued. Please understand that for the first couple of weeks, car rider dismissal may take a little bit longer than normal, but please understand it's because we are ensuring the safety of all students and making sure they go home with the correct person the correct way. All parents must remain in their vehicles at all times to pick up students. Visitors on campus. Visitors will only be allowed inside the school building for school business matters that cannot be handled over the phone, by email, or in a Google Meet virtual meeting. Parents or visitors will not be allowed for breakfast, lunch, or celebrations, nor will they be able to drop off outside food. If you should need to pick up your child early from school, please know that you should remain in your vehicle and call the campus to have the child brought out to the front. Thank you again for taking the time to join me for this quick video. At Tradition, we are committed to engaging, encouraging, and equipping our students every minute, every day. We look forward to seeing our Tradition Titan students that parents opted for face-to-face instruction on their designated group days starting Tuesday, September 8th, 2020 at 7:32 a.m. For those of you who have chosen remote learning, we will continue to see you in your child's Google Classroom. We are in this together. We will continue to work to ensure the safety of all students, and we are Titan Strong. Thank you and have a good evening.